if I go out there and all I see and look at this is the stars, it's absolutely peaceful to me. Like, it is a beautiful thing. It's stress-free. I love going out after a long day and working, and if all I see is just the stars, that's good enough for me. I say that all the time, and I always just go before them and I say, like, I'm not afraid. That's probably a big thing too, is I just say, I'm not afraid. I want to see you. I welcome you here. A lot of times will tell them, like, I'm Vince, I know you know who I am. I'm in the United States. I'm in Missouri, kind of hone in, and I'm like, I'm in St. Louis County, and I'm in this neighborhood at this address in my backyard. Like, what's up?
Yep.
And
Yep.
sometimes it's just like, boom, and they'll when they do show up, it won't be just one. It'll be like one, and another one will come, and then another one. It's like they're putting on like a little show.
What's up, everyone? This is Justin, and welcome back to Beyond the Lights. So April 18th, we are actually going to be having another Skywatch event. So if that's something you're interested in, email me at lightsoverloveland@gmail.com, and I can send you the address, the information. I'm not sure what time the event is going to start for this one. I think we're going to start a little bit earlier this time so we can have more time to do demonstrations. So Ryan Davian, the winner of the 2025 Psy Games, will be back out at the ranch doing more psychic demonstrations. And I think we're going to try to figure out how we can get people more involved and stuff like that. And I thought that was fantastic for the event. It was a great way to open people's minds up before going and looking at the skies and trying to connect with whatever may be up there. So if that's something you're interested in, trust me, seeing it in person will blow your mind and really shatter your reality if you don't believe that the psychic stuff is real, because it's crazy once you see it in person and you just realize this is real. I believe it's something we're all capable of, and it just takes that belief that you're capable and then put in the work to start learning these abilities. But who knows what we're capable of as a species? I think sky's the limit. And I think it's really exciting that the time we're in right now, that these things are being discovered, and I can't wait to see how we can evolve and push these abilities and unlock new human potentials. And before we dive into the episode, a couple things. First, I just want to make sure everyone's aware that I have a free Discord that is open to anyone who would like to join. The link is down below. You can request to join. I'll approve pretty much anyone who wants to be a part of this community. And once you are approved, you get access to some awesome channels where we can talk about all kinds of different things, from sky watching to connecting with nature to all different hobbies, arts, crafts, photography, music. It's just a really fun place where we can get to know each other, have a conversation, and share some things that we learn along the way. And another way you can help support is to check out my Patreon. You can join for free and you'll get access to some stuff in there, or I have a tier that's $5 a month, which will get you access to all of the episodes and videos I post a day early. You'll also get access to some behind the scenes stuff and access to some certain channels in the Discord that's only for members. Lastly, the best way you can help support me is to check out my merch store. I have all kinds of different designs: hats, beanies, t-shirts, hoodies. So this is the Merkaba Traveler hat, and this is the OG Lights Over Loveland design. I have all kinds of different designs, so if you'd like to help support me and get your hands on some merch that I think is really comfortable, I wear it all the time, check out my merch store, and that will also be linked down below. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to Beyond the Lights. I'm your host, Justin, and today's guest is Vince with the UAP Pod. He is an experiencer, a lifelong skywatcher, and storyteller who's been obsessed with UFOs, high strangeness, and consciousness for as long as he can remember. On top of that, he's a dedicated husband and a father of 5. He's worn a few different hats over the years, from U.S. Army Psychological Operations Specialist, a pastor, a middle school science teacher, and a sales/marketing/content creator. That mix of background shaped how he approaches this topic with curiosity, respect for experiencers, and a desire to stay grounded while exploring the weird. Vince created the UAP Pod for people who feel that something is going on. And he wants to make a deep, complicated subject easier for everyday people to engage with without fear, hype, or pressure to believe anything, which is something that I appreciate a lot. So, welcome, Vince. Thank you so much for being here today.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Justin.
Yeah. So, I guess we can just dive in and we'll go
Yeah.
into your background and wherever you want to take us and your background. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, for sure. So like I've been interested in UFOs for as long as I can remember. Going back, at least to like middle school.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like I remember. I've mentioned this before, watching Fire in the Sky. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
I haven't watched it. I've been debating on watching it recently, actually.
Yeah. When you're like 10, it scares the living crap out of you.
Yeah.
I remember watching that in Flight of the Navigators and Doctor Who and X-Files and Mac and Me, like all those things when we were kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Loved it. But, never like went beyond movies and books and, stories and things like that. And then, throughout high school and everything like that, just kind of your normal dude. I played hockey. I was in theater. And for me to join the military was actually like so out of the norm of anything. Like, I was one of 6 siblings and totally different from all of them. Kind of the token black sheep story of a lot of us that are in this, in this community. Just, didn't have the same interests as my siblings. They got in trouble. I never did. I had great grades, just like all kinds of things that were different. And they would always call me the milkman's kid or, the mailman's kid and things like that. So, but yeah, like I had decent friends in high school and everything, but I think I just joined the military at that time just because I wanted some sort of community or some sort of quote unquote family to be a part of, because I didn't think I really had, So yeah, that's kind of like my, my background. From there, I don't recall like anything from my childhood about this topic.
Gotcha.
As far as like having an experience or anything like that. I've had dreams as of late that I've written down that are pretty weird because it involves like people I hung out with in high school and stuff like that.
Okay.
That like I had a dream that I wrote down where, my friends thought it was great that I got abducted. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, dude, yes, you totally were. Like, we saw it happen. And, I looked up all their names and stuff, like what their names meant, like the spiritual meaning of their names. And like, kind of, I was just trying to like interpret the dream as best I could.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I feel very similar to you too. Like I didn't really felt like I fit in with my family. It was only me and my sister, but I was also like very good in school as well. Like I got good grades. I was always doing what I was supposed to be doing. I was actually really like shy and quiet and intimidated in social settings a lot. So like for me to have a podcast now is really strange, but like
well, you're growing into it. You're doing good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we got to get uncomfortable and push ourselves if we want to grow, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah, like for me as well, going into the military, like I never would have expected that I would have ended up in the military as well.
Yeah. Did
Um,
you do it right out of high school, or when did you join?
so I actually went to community college for a semester first, but I
Okay.
didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then my friend had joined the Air Force, my best friend, and I was in school and I just thought about it and it's like, I really don't want to pay for school. I don't
Mm,
know what I want to do. So like my friend joined the Air Force. I ended up going and talking to a recruiter and ended up signing up myself. Kind of just ended up that way. And now I'm back full circle. I'm a full-time student now using my GI Bill to pay for school and everything. So
do it,
it's
man.
like,
Take
yeah,
every single bit of you can with that.
yeah, for
I have
sure.
zero student debt. I have my undergraduate and my master's degree, and all
Awesome.
paid by the military. So
Yeah.
suck it dry, dude. Like take
Yeah.
get everything
Yeah.
everything that
Yeah.
you can. Um, so when we like what did you do in the Air Force?
So in the Air Force, I was a munitions specialist. So I was like, I worked in the bomb dump and handling explosives and everything. And I was stationed at Ellsworth Air Force Base, and we had the B 1 bomber there.
Uh-huh.
So when I first got there, I was actually in like conventional maintenance, which was building and assembling the bombs for the B 1. And I did that for about half my enlistment, and then the second half I was line delivery. So I was out on the flight line, and I would be going up to the bomb dump, getting the trailers that were loaded, and bring them down to be loaded into the jets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Did you
yeah,
have any deployments at the time, or
I had one deployment. I got deployed to Al Udeid in Qatar,
okay?
and
Yeah.
yeah, quite the experience. Definitely changed me
Mhm.
when I went through that experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about your experience in the military? Did you go straight out of high school as well, or?
So I did join in high school. Um, so went to a recruiter. However, I still did a semester of college
Gotcha.
because
Okay.
kind of this like interim time for me to go to
Mhm.
training. Yeah, so joined. I graduated in 2002, and I was in um, and then I was, in basic training AIT 2003. So it was really quick, but I still did a semester of
Gotcha.
college because I still wanted to kind of, get something under my belt because I guess I'm an overachiever or something. But I remember definitely not liking the first semester of college. I went to St. Louis, a university here in St. Louis,
Mm.
and just didn't like it at all at the time, and I ended up like dropping a class, and I was just like, I just had military on my mind. I was like, I knew that for the foreseeable future something was going to happen,
Mm.
and then we go into Afghanistan and Iraq, and before I even go to basic training in AIT, the unit, I already knew my unit assignment, going into those, and they were already
Mm.
like, you're going to be deployed when you're done.
Oh,
So
dang, yeah.
we had some
Yeah.
additional training and things like that that we went through where I went to the John F. Kennedy School of Special Warfare in Monterey, California, sort of MASH films. So we did some urban training there, and we did some training in like Fort McCoy, Wisconsin. Obviously Fort Bragg, that's where psychological operations headquarters is. So we were, there before we went over to Iraq. But like from the moment I went to basic AIT to all these other trainings, I was never home, so it was like boom, 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 bam. Then we were in
Mm.
Iraq, you know?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
So I was young. Yeah, I was 19. And then, when I got to Iraq, I was 20 at the time. I finally got there in 2004. So
Yeah, that's really similar to me too. I was 19 when I joined the Air Force, and I was 20 when I got deployed as well, which
yeah,
is definitely an interesting time of your life to be deployed as well, because it's like this weird thing. Like in the US, I'm not legally allowed to drink because I'm not 21, but then
yeah,
I'm deployed and I'm drinking over there, and then I come back from deployment, I'm still not 21, so I can't drink
yeah,
again.
yeah.
It gets weird in those situations and
It
stuff.
does. Yeah. I always thought about that too. Like I had my 21st birthday in Iraq.
Mm,
Um,
gotcha.
and I remember we got some beer that just like straight up tastes like camel piss.
Yeah.
I have a video somewhere in my my archives where we're all like busting it open at the same time, and we all took a swig, and then we all went and just like all spit it out.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I know like your experience happened while you were in the military, correct?
it did. Yeah, yeah. So uh, yeah,
Yeah.
October 2004. I got to Iraq in August of 2004, and
Mm.
the first psychological operations team was already there for the first rotation. So when we got there, they were getting us up to date on transitioning our their team into our team, and what's going on in Iraq, and what missions they've been doing, and who they've been talking to. And at that time we were serving or kind of alongside the first cavalry division was kind of that where we were, so we would have meetings with their officers and things like that, and how we could support
Gotcha.
them. But alongside of that, after you're getting like your bed assignments and all those kinds of things, you're just kind of in the everyday rigmarole of things. You still have what's called fire duty, or what night duty. You probably have done that before.
So
um
I had gate guard. I had to
Gate guard,
actually.
something like
It
that.
was
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
stressful too because I was responsible for like who came into the bomb dump with all the explosives and everything too. And they would
There's,
have like contract like workers, like
yeah.
locals that would be coming in, and they'd have the sketchiest IDs and try to steal the ID cards every time. It was so stressful doing that job. But
Oh,
yeah.
geez. Luckily, I had no interaction with anyone
Mm,
ever during ours. It was just we had a building, and at night everybody would go to their trailers to go to sleep, and then we'd have one person stay back that's just there to you know take. There's computers there, and weapons, and sensitive like all kinds of things. So you're just there and hanging out. Um, and I'd pass the time by drinking coffee and listening to music, and I had a little basketball hoop there, or I would skateboard up and down the halls, or
nice.
uh,
Yeah.
just things like. And it wasn't that big, like you're talking 12 or 2,000 square feet, so just kind of like a normal house, like
Oh
that's
yeah.
huge. But I would go outside a lot, um, just to get some fresh air, look at the stars or whatever. There was, at that time, light pollution was almost nil, because
Mm,
Baghdad would consume energy and things like that for their people at night, and they would turn things off and things like that. So I would always go out there just to kind of check things out. And I went out there, one evening in October, and look in the sky, and I see this brilliant light. And the first thing I think of is just airplane, helicopter. It's a pretty common thing to
hmm.
see, especially out of Camp Victory. There's, Baghdad International Airport's pretty close to that.
Gotcha.
So see this light come in, and I really it gets closer, and I'm like, that's definitely not a helicopter. I can't hear, the rotors. Can't hear any of that. It's not an airplane. It's not a star. And it just gets kind of closer and closer and closer.
Gotcha.
And as it, appears, I have like this telepathic message that comes just straight into my heart and my mind. I can hear it clear as day, of no harm will come to you while you're here.
Hmm.
It was, it wasn't something like I thought, oh, UFO or alien. I didn't really have context, for that at that moment. I didn't know what it was. Seriously, had no idea, but I knew what I heard, and that was kind of like the part where I'm like, okay, so this is definitely real. I feel it. Like I don't know if you have had this kind of experience before, where you feel it in the core of your body, like in your
Yeah.
bones, your
Oh yeah.
cells. Everything is just like, I know what I heard. I know what I see. As real as anything else I've ever had in my life. And then it kind of just backs away, and dissolves and disappears.
Hmm.
The way I kind of told people the way it looked was, someone kind of had a flashlight in the sky just shining down. There wasn't a beam or anything at all, but just a light. um, and white bluish light. Cool, coolest thing ever. I looked around like somebody had to have seen that. Camp Victory is a huge base. It's not like people are, it operates 24/7. I was like, surely somebody had to have seen what I just saw. And so I'm like looking around and I'm like kind of peeking around the corner of the building and there's no one. Like no one's come out and be like, did you see that? Like, dude, like,
Right.
and from what I hear, like I've talked to a lot of people about, the orb situation is sometimes they'll show themselves to you and not others, even in a group setting. Like there could be
Yeah.
a group of you there and so you'll see it in someone else. And so, the only thing, like I was like, Signal Hill was in front of my building in Iraq, and you can see this kind of stuff like on satellite imageries in 2004. I actually got pictures of it, and I actually have the coordinates. Like I have the legit coordinates of where everything
Wow.
to the T, because not only that, I wanted to know like what were the star constellations like at that time. And a huge one that has come into my life and into vision would be Pleiades, which was
Gotcha.
just where the light came from. And it's kind of put me on this weird track of, the Pleiades and Pleiadian lore and stories, all kinds of things in front of me that I just absolutely have no idea about prior to me kind of really digging deep into all of this past fall.
Gotcha.
And I was telling Sarah, I think I'm not sure if I told her this in that video or just like, when I had a conversation with her or whatever, but the Pleiades is 444 light years away.
Oh, interesting.
My angel number.
Wow.
I see it everywhere. 444 constantly everywhere, all over the place. So that was something that I found, but I just have this draw of, I've had this this sense of like homesickness and belonging out there that I've had for a really long time. And I would say things to my wife all the time, like, I belong up there. I don't know why. And she's like, just stop, I'm like, I'm just feel very drawn to the stars. It's a very weird thing, I know, but it's just how, like, there's just pull for it. Another synchronicity that happened, I drive a Subaru Ascent. And the Subaru logo is Pleiades.
Yeah, I remember you saying that because I didn't know that, and I have an Ascent and a Forester, and now that's all I can see when I see the logo now. Yeah.
I had it for 4.5 years. I had no idea. I was just driving to Costco one day and I was like, what's going on with this steering wheel right now? Like, and it was just like, and so I stopped at Costco and I looked up, what does the logo for Subaru mean? And then boom, there it is. That's exactly what it is. They designed that logo specifically after Pleiades.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So it's kind of fascinating because you're drawn to Pleiades, and I feel like I'm drawn to the constellation Cassiopeia
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, but like that's where I record a lot of interesting things. But I also did want to ask, when you saw the light in the sky, like how big was the light if you had to like estimate? Like to you,
So
what?
smaller than the moon, but not, so it was decent size. I
Gotcha.
mean,
Okay.
all size.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, brilliant. Yeah. It was big. I couldn't tell you how far away it was. It wasn't ground level by any means. It was definitely, in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like for the triangle formation of orbs I saw
Mm-hmm.
that like directly over my house. But yeah, trying to like estimate anything in the sky is so difficult. Like
Oh yeah.
I don't know how people give an estimate. They're like, oh, I saw like 100 feet above me or whatever. Because when I'm looking at it, I'm like, that could be right above me or it could be like at plane height. Like it's really hard to judge how
Yeah.
high
Like
it is.
I've had, plenty of like, it wasn't up until recently, maybe, since like November is when I really started bringing a camera out with me, and I still don't always bring it out with me. But I remember sitting there, and I swear that the blue light went in between my trees, not once, but twice. Like, amazing, like made me freak out. And I'm just like, oh my God, and I was like, can't believe it. And that seems like that's 30 feet, 45 feet. It just looks like a shooting star literally went right through my trees. And I've got orbs where, you're filming them and they look like they're way up there. And so it just depends. But like, my camera, I just use this. I know everybody like use that Psionics.
That's
Aurora.
very similar to what I started out with, actually. It was
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
It does the job.
Mhm.
But that helps me kind of, it's got like 4 or 5 different IR settings and things like that, but it
Yeah.
helps me just kind of see things. And I haven't posted any of those videos on UAP Pod yet. I don't know why. I just feel like they're just like sacred to me right now, and I just keep them.
Gotcha.
I've showed a couple to Corey and Sarah, just in a message or whatever. But yeah, they're just they're super cool. Like I don't know how to explain it to people. I try to even explain it to my wife. I'm like, I don't know. You just need to be there.
Yeah, definitely. I feel that because I'm always trying to like explain to people that, it's one thing to like see the video too, but like when you're experiencing this in real time and like the things that you're saying and like these different things too, like sometimes I have no idea like how correlated my phenomenon I record is until I go back and like rewatch and realize like I said this thing like right before this thing happened. Like what's like the chances of that happening? Yeah, I know. It was. I wish we could get another one side by side like we got earlier. Now that it's dark, I'm gonna speak it into existence. There will be another one side by side.
Thank you so much. Just God bless you for letting us come out. Seriously, it's so touched with your kindness and generosity and just letting us come to your home.
So it picks up different.
Just had money to buy this property. We have any
You have the camera, right? It's not like that other goggles are like real clear, right?
We'll share with them.
Whoa! What are those? Oh my God! What are those? Thank you. I just said we're gonna get 2 side by side. Wow! Thank you. Yeah, they're just chilling. Wow.
As they move down, they're like perfect parallel.
Yeah, they're like, it's like they're connected.
Oh, I just saw a flash over to the left too. Oh my God! Thank you. Oh, I just saw the flash to the left again. It was like right over in this area. Oh, there. Thank you. Can we? Oh, thank you. And like a lot of times it'll be like I'll ask for like I have one video where this thing showed up and like made a noise too. Like it showed up in the middle of the sky, spirals downward, making a noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like when you watch the full video, I was recording a whole bunch of orbs before that. And I just like I said, it'd be really cool if you could show me a craft. But whatever happens, I am grateful. And right when I said I'm grateful, that's when that thing shows up and shoots downwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just a lot of like synchronicity stuff that like people don't get the full context when they're watching this video sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all it's all about like, what's your heart intention like when you go out? I don't really go out there with like any expectations. I told them if I go out there and all I see and look at this is the stars, it's absolutely peaceful to me. Like it is a beautiful thing. It's stress free. I love going out after a long day and working, and if all I see is just the stars, that's good enough for me. I say that all the time, and I always just go before them and I say, like I'm not afraid. That's probably a big thing too. Is I just say I'm not afraid. I want to see you. I welcome you here. A lot of times will tell them like, you know, I'm Vince. I know you know who I am. I'm in the United States. I'm in Missouri. Kind of hone in, and I'm like, I'm in St. Louis County, and I'm in this neighborhood at this address in my backyard. Like, what's up?
Yep.
And
Yep.
sometimes it's just like boom, and they'll when they do show up, it won't be just one. It'll be like one, and another one will come, and then another one. It's like they're putting on like a little show, and then that'll go on for like 5 minutes, and then nothing will happen.
Yeah.
After that, and I'm like, it's super cool, and I've had moments where, like I was out in when the Northern Lights were able to reach Missouri,
Mm.
and I guess everybody and their grandma was outside, trying to capture this stuff. And I was outside hoping to get camera footage of the Northern Lights and an orb,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing was happening. I got really, gorgeous like speed of the lights coming, through, because I just fast forwarded or whatever. But I remember, the just saying like, hey, if you don't want to come out tonight because there's so many people or whatever the case, that's how I talked. I don't know how you talk to them. Just like there might be a ton of people out here. Maybe you
Straight
don't
up.
want to.
Yeah.
And I was like, you just tell me, give me a sign that you're with me. And literally, when I said that, an owl was like, hoo-hoo, in the background, like immediately.
Wow. Yeah.
And I've never heard an owl around here, ever. And the cool thing is the next day, my mother-in-law lives right behind us. She was like, did you guys hear that owl last night? Yeah. And so I was like, I knew it. Yeah, I heard that. Like, no, can't take that away from me. That was an owl.
Yeah.
So there'll be things like that. Or I'll be out there and nothing's happening, but I'll look down at my phone when I'm playing music, and the time will say 4:44 on the song,
Gotcha.
or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you had many experiences with animals besides that owl like hooting? Like, I didn't really pay attention too much to the animal like synchronicities and stuff until like I really started diving into this like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And I made like a shamanism little like mini series and was learning about like spirit animals and power animals, and realized that like I seem to see these interesting animals at like different periods in life, like when I'm going through a transition or anything. Have you ever had like animal kind of signs
Yeah.
or stuff like that?
Yeah. Definitely. Like hawk is a big one for me. A deer is another big one. Like, freaking love deer. Like,
I do too. Yeah.
I could never shoot a deer. I could never eat a deer. I could never go hunting for a deer. Like when people do and that's their thing, I couldn't. Like, I would be like crying over the deer,
So funny thing about that actually is had some deer like show up like multiple times last year, and that's what like sparked me on like looking into it. But I did this hike in Longmont, which is like 20 miles from me, and it was the middle of the day. It was like 90 degrees out, and there was a deer like 10 feet in front of me, just walked by on the path, just moseying on. I was like, that's really cool. And then a couple days later, I did another hike here in Loveland in the Big Thompson Canyon, and once again, it was like 11 a.m. and there was a deer right off the path, like right there. And then to bring it to the not fun part, I think it was like a month or so later, but my class for school got canceled because my professor was actually attending a funeral. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get out and do this hike. And I pulled up to the trailhead in Fort Collins. It was in Laurie State Park. I didn't even know if you could hunt here, but first thing like 7:30 in the morning. I'm pulling up in the parking lot, and this like teenage kid, he's like probably no more than 13, is
Mm-hmm.
carrying a dead deer on his shoulders, like to their like truck. And that just like shocked me so bad because like I was not prepared. Like the last 2 deer I saw, I was like, this is my spirit animal. And then I show up to this hike and just got like smacked in the face with a dead deer first thing in the morning. And yeah, but it made me like reflect. Yeah. And then also like just the fact that my professor was attending like a funeral that
Yeah.
same day, like that was the reason class was canceled and everything. So it made me reflect on like death that day,
Mm-hmm.
but it made me realize like also it wasn't trying to show me that it was scary or sad. It was like trying to show me that it's just like a stage that we all go through in life, and it's really natural. And even though it's like terrifying and scary, it's a normal part of life and everything.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm really curious about Steven Spielberg's new movie because when you watch those trailers, here or a stag, a cardinal, you know, some bird, like there's a very obvious nature element to what he's
Yeah.
trying to cross with the UFO phenomenon, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I noticed that too. And it's also interesting with that because people are so torn on it too. Like people seem to be really like against this video coming out. I don't know, like it seems to be like they're trying to like push this narrative or something people are trying to say, but like I don't know, I was really interested when I saw the animals as well because that was the first thing I thought about was that deer and just like the experiences I had.
Yeah.
But
I'm excited
um
for yeah, you know, I know a lot of people get kind of into the weeds about, you know, all that
mhm,
kind of stuff. Like I like any of those types of movies and I'll watch them, you know. Like people have you know, get all bent out of shape by the fourth kind and the owls and
mhm,
the what up there, you know, or Fire in the Sky or Independence Day or, you know, whatever. And they're just, you know, they say Independence Day is just you know, the government's way of telling people that aliens are hostile and this is how we should
mhm.
believe, you know, things like that. But you know, sometimes entertainment can just be entertainment too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um So, what led you to wanting to like research and make this accessible to people? Is it like that fear stigma that seems to be around this topic, or like what was it for you?
Um, I mean, a little bit. I think, like I said, I've always been, you know, interested in the topic. I mean, even like Bigfoot and
Mm,
mm, all that kind of stuff. Like any of those shows, Ancient Aliens, Bigfoot, you know, I was into it for. I loved all of it. Some of them were definitely pretty hokey, but like
yeah.
that, just I'm not the guy that like I don't like to watch trash TV, and you know, like that's just not what I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, put on some Resident Alien, I'm a happy guy, like that kind.
Yeah. That's a
Uh,
good show.
yeah, it is a good show.
Yeah.
Uh, so whenever 2017 came around, um, there's a lot of friends where I was like, "Booyah!" You know, like I'm like, "What?" You know, when that came out, and then um, pretty quickly, I feel like even though some things were being revealed, I think there was a lot of things that were purposely being, you know, clouded and uh, you know, misdirection and just kind of leading people down a trail that was something that was knowingly incorrect or, you know, whatever the case might be. Uh, so for, you know, years, I just was tearing into books and, you know, it wasn't like Ancient Aliens anymore. It was Dimensions with Jacques Vallée and Revelations, and these are like thickies. You know, I don't know if you've ever
Yeah.
read those books. You know, like deep stuff. Getting into like I love Diana Pasulka's books.
Yeah. Great
Reading
books.
Secret Machines as well. That whole trilogy, but understanding like the underlying element that he's got going in there's so much truth. So I was
Mm,
just like reading so many things, but like I wanted to start the UAP pod for just the normal everyday person that wants to make sense of knowing like, okay, there is something going on. I'm not quite sure what it is. You know, the Pentagon says there's UFOs, but they're not like really confirming it. And so that's kind of what I do, is just take something that seems pretty complicated, a lot of context, and just simplify it. I love to throw a lot of videos on, like, hey, this happened on this day, in February or whatever, but in 1957, because we can forget.
Yeah,
Another
definitely.
thing, like, people think like this is just a new phenomenon and people are just kind of getting into it. It's been around for a really long time, and a lot of stories have been around for a really long time. And I don't want people to forget either of, things like the Battle of Los Angeles that happened in February 24th, 25th. Like, that is a crazy story. And if you ever dig into it, you're like, 1,400 artillery shells fired over Los Angeles, and people are like, yeah, whatever.
That's insane. Yeah. It is insane. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I do. But also I have, my degree, my master's degree and my undergraduate in theology, master philosophy. So I'm also kind of a deep thinker and try to find, just different perspectives on, what this phenomenon might be. It's not just nuts and bolts. There's a heavy consciousness aspect to this, a spiritual aspect to it. It hits all kinds of different layers of our society and in our learning and knowledge. And so that's what I do.
Yeah. I
Fun.
love that you do that too, because that's where I've been led to through like researching the phenomenon. Because when I first started seeing the orbs, so for me, it started as a joke in August 2023. There was like all the stuff about aliens on TikTok, and we were going to have like the first congressional hearing after
All right.
like
Yeah.
50 years or whatever and everything like that. So like I came home and I told my wife, like as a joke, like I'm going to go look for the aliens outside. Here I am a couple years later, and this has become my entire life, and
They
it's
found you.
completely changed me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went outside and I saw these balls of light in the sky that I just had no idea what they were. I was really trying to figure out at first. I was like, are these satellites, or like what are these things? And that like set this like spark of curiosity like off in me, where I was going out every single night just trying to see what I could see and document whatever I could document. It took me going out every single night from August until like May 4th, 2024, Star Wars Day, which is amazing still.
Yeah, that is a good day.
Yeah. That's when I saw that triangle formation that just like cemented in to me, like knowing, okay, this is not man made. These are
Mhm.
definitely not satellites. Like, I don't know what they are, but I didn't have any, like, I didn't research into the topic at all or anything like that. So for me, the only context I had was like nuts and bolts crafts or aliens from outer space and everything like that. And it didn't really make sense. Like I don't know, something within me just like knew like it just doesn't make sense. And then like for you, or like what you were saying, when you saw that light in the sky, like you like felt like God, like you felt like an angel, like you felt this higher power. And that was similar to what I was feeling as well. But I found Chris Bledsoe a few months later, and then like hearing about his story and reading UFO of God and listening to Bledsoe Said So really opened me up to the spiritual side of the phenomenon, because I didn't have any of that context. And once I had heard all those different things, like it really resonated with me. And I realized like, that's it. That's what I was feeling. That's what I was experiencing.
And I know my spirit guides are always with me, as well as God. I don't believe God is just a single person or a single entity. I believe everything is God. It's unfathomable. There's another one. Oh, there's another two. Wow, thank you so much. Yeah, oh, there's another one. There's 4 on the screen right now. What a fantastic little video. Thank you for helping spread this message by giving me these videos, so I can hopefully open people's minds to what is out there and what is possible, what this reality truly is. You know, I don't think we die. I think we are souls having a physical experience. And when you have death, it's more like just changing vehicles out of your physical form back to your true form. And you can learn to connect with that higher version of yourself through meditation, through understanding, and through looking inside and gaining a deeper connection. But you have to be open. You have to listen. You have to take steps that they give you. You have to follow the path. Thank you. They don't want me to stop this video, I guess. So I'll just keep filming. As more and more just keep flying by. Thank you so much. Can you do something weird for me, please? Can we get some flashes, or some hard turns, or even a craft of some sort would be insane. But whatever happens, I am grateful. Thank you so much.
And like, same as you, I just like, I'm trying to give people like a different way to look at the phenomenon. Like, are you Christian? Here's some Christian ways to look at it. Are you a Buddhist? Like, here's some Buddhist, like just different avenues to go through. And like, to bring it back to that shamanism series, it was interesting because I was taking a archaeology class, and that's what like really sparked it. Like hearing about the ancient shamans 35,000 years ago, and they were like one of the most respected people in the community, and it was their job to connect with the star people and bring back information to share with the community to help everyone. And I just thought it was crazy that like, mainly in the West today, but like we think that's some crazy impossible thing that could happen.
Some woo-woo guy.
Yeah, some woo-woo thing. But like literally when you look back through history, like it's been going on this whole entire time.
Yeah. How do you respond to people that are like, bro, that's just a satellite, or that's an airplane? You know?
Yeah, I get a lot of that. And like I try to do my best to like tell them like the whole context of the situation and like the research that I have done. Like these are the tools I've used to like try to debunk these things. But ultimately it's just, I'm just a dude on the internet, and like it's not gonna change their worldview until they have like their own experience, or they finally like something opens their worldview that little bit. We're like, okay, maybe this is a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't posted any of my videos, but I've posted videos of videos before. Like I posted a video that the good trouble show was posting or talking about these orbs on Thunderstrike Ranch. I think it's in Colorado. Where like
I
Carl,
think so, yeah.
Mike Baptiste are, and so I just played this video of the orbs that the Good Trouble Show did, and it went bonkers. But everybody was in there like, those are just airplanes, those are just satellites, and I was like, the people who are doing this are not only trained observers, they have tools and tech that are tracking airplanes, tracking satellites. I've even brought onto my back porch my laptop and have tracked airplanes above my house, and knowing for a fact that that was not an airplane. But also, when you're filming, like I think at some point I'm going to do this where I'm going to say, here's an orb. This is an airplane.
Yes.
They are completely different looking lights.
What is this? Oh my god. Thank you so much. This is so incredible. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, I got chills, guys. I'm standing up. There's a plane right there. Oh, I got back up. It's moving very fast. I'm backing up till I hit my trampoline. Oh my goodness. What was that? There's no way that plane did not see that. That was amazing. Wow. I'd love to hear anyone try to say that's a satellite. That thing was hauling ass, dude. Wow. It was completely silent too. All I can hear is the plane. That was amazing. Oh, we got another over here. Yeah, just look at the difference in speed. Look at the difference in speed.
And when you're in infrared, you can see the blinking of the lights of the airplanes. It's 100% obvious. And in my infrared, in a lot of cases, I can see the contrails from an airplane.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, you don't see contrails on it with an orb. Satellites, people are like, that's just the sun reflecting off, lower horizon, or things of that sort. And some of it might be that. But when you have one where you're like, hey, can you confirm that that was you? And it just goes and blows. You know what I'm saying?
God, Holy Spirit, Spirit guides, thank you for everything. It'd be absolutely amazing if you could fill my frame with phenomena that I may show to other people to awaken more people. Wow. Holy cow, that one's very bright white. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was amazing.
That's too much of a coincidence for that to happen the exact same time that your consciousness is, connecting with it.
Yeah. I've had a lot of experiences like that too. And there's one really fun one. Actually, me and my best friend went to one of the local parks one night and we were skywatching. And like also a lot of things I record, like I'll go out past, like I use the site Heavens Above and it'll show you when all the satellites are going to go by and everything. Like I'll go out after they're all going to be visible too, to like try to limit that. But there's this one experience me and my friend had this park where we were like, this really bright orb just came out of nowhere. And I can't remember the joke exactly, but me and my friend were just like laughing, like we were joking around. And then all of a sudden the orb just started like pulsing, like it was laughing with us too. Yeah. And then it stopped doing it when we stopped laughing. And then like we would be like, were you just laughing with us? And they would like do like a pulse with us. Like I've had all kinds of interactions where it's either the craziest coincidence or it is responding to your consciousness or whatever energy you're putting out there.
Yeah.
They are here.
Oh,
My goodness.
thank you.
Oh my God.
They also really love excitement, I will say. Thank you.
I'm getting salty.
Wow. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I got it on video.
Yeah. I definitely think it's, the latter. And yes, there's some prosaic things out there. People have sent me videos before on Instagram. And sometimes I just, I don't have the heart to tell them, like,
Yeah.
that was not what you thought it was, but cool, But then there are some people have sent me some really cool stuff where I'm like, I don't know what it is, but that's amazing. Like I think it's really amazing. And I was like, do you have the timestamp and, your location? And I said, why don't you, make sure you just look at flight logs and tracking and satellites. And, when you do a flight tracker, you're not only showing airplanes, commercial ones, it can be small ones, it can be helicopters and stuff too. So, I've seen like mine is like shows the helicopter little icon and airplane icon and, in the flight numbers, like the tail number or whatever is still on it. So you can use those. And then I have an app that not only tracks all the constellations and the stars and the planets, because it can be pretty bright at sometimes too, where people are like, that's an orb and it's just Venus
Right.
or Jupiter, and tracks the International Space Station. And it shows like the actual trajectory of where these things are going in the skies. You put your camera up, it actually shows the lines and stuff. So yeah, some people are just ignorant on the internet where they just throw out things all the time. Like I'm getting ready to do a mini series on Instagram. I think I'm going to turn it into a long form video on YouTube too about the comment I get all the time of just, ETs and aliens or demons. I get it so much. I ignore it now. I don't even like respond anymore. But I'm going to do like a series of just, why people say that, where does it come from, what's the reasoning behind it, what researchers have to say, and et cetera, and just trying to like bring this more, a complicated issue and kind of bring it down to earth, so to speak, to help people understand a little bit better, because it's this phenomenon is not a yes or no kind of thing. It's much weirder and stranger and broader than that. And so when people are like, that's a demon, and even Congress right now, there's members of Congress that don't even want to talk about disclosure because they say it's demonic.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting thing to hear coming out of congressional members' mouths and things like that. Like, so it's so interesting too, because I get that comment sometimes. Like, I don't get that one a whole lot actually, but I have been told like, oh, you're opening yourself up to demons and connecting with these things. And for like those people out there, I didn't even believe in God until 2023 when I started having my awakening and going through this experience. Like, I didn't have that relationship with, like, using God for me is still like a weird word. And like to me, it's just that like ineffable, like it's a divine just presence that's like up there. Yeah, creator, whatever word people want to use. But it brought me to that. And when I go out and Skywatch, like I go through everything I'm grateful in my day. And then I tell God, like, thank you so much for another beautiful day alive. And then I ask, like, if it be your will, I'd love to see your beautiful lights fly through the sky. I'd love to be able to document this phenomenon to share with mankind. And I just don't get how people can say it's a demon when I'm praying to God.
Yeah.
But then they also go to church and you're praying to God. So what are you doing at church? Like, like it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. It's just, it's definitely an interesting dynamic with, because I came from that background. Like I was a pastor for 11 years, planted 2 churches, and, it's like I feel I'm more, balanced, happier, like everything. My whole entire life feels energetic, full of light, like just more than I was. Like when I was in the church, I was, as a pastor, I was depressed and I was angry, and like thinking about why are these people not giving more, or why are they not serving more, and just like all these like stupid things. And I had really good like relationships and people within the church, but then when I went through a divorce in 2020, a lot of these people that were like my friends were extremely judgmental. They came at me. I lost a lot of friends, and these are people that are supposed to be like your peeps, and that was kind of like my, just like not my exit, because I closed the doors of my church personally after going through divorce, and then I would try to visit churches in the area because I was so integrated into the church world in St. Louis, I couldn't go anywhere without just being. So every time you go, someone would be like, "Hey man, like I really need you to preach, at some point, like would you be able to fill in it, or um could you do like youth group or student, college ministry, like all this stuff." And I was like, "No, I just want to like be." And then I just felt like I was, more of a tool for people than anything else. But yeah, like I I've gotten people that have, told me that kind of stuff too. They've stumbled upon the UAP pod and they're like, "What is he doing? And why, you've lost your way, man. You're wayward," and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, they're the ones that kind of seem lost. Like, it seems like everything's pointing to this direction. And, like, I'm sure you probably see it too. But, like, for me, it looks like we're pushing to, like, we're on the verge of a breakthrough in consciousness and, like, understanding of what consciousness is, what it's capable of, and all these different things. You have people connecting with the phenomenon up in the sky. You have all these psychic abilities that people are now demonstrating, and I've seen
Yeah.
firsthand in person just
Yeah. That
how real they all are.
interview you had with that dude from Psy Games.
Yeah, Ryan
Yeah.
Davian, yeah. And, like, I live 40 minutes from him, so we actually, like, met up in person, and we both love BMX, so we went to the bike park, did some riding, and then we ended up having a Skywatch, like, a week or so later and did some psychic training and stuff like that, and yeah, this is 100% legit. Like, everything that he's trying to be fully transparent and show his entire process and everything.
And
And then you
people
have,
still,
yeah, and the crazy thing is they doubt more on the psychic stuff than the UFO stuff now, which is really interesting to me because that's where, like, my biggest skeptics are coming right now is the psychic stuff. But then you also have, like, the telepathy tapes
Mhm.
and all that stuff coming out with these children with telepathy and mediumship and all these kinds
Death
of
experiences,
near death experience.
yeah,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
So, yeah, it just seems like we're on the verge of, like, this massive breakthrough in understanding, like, a fraction or a portion of consciousness. And I feel like the reason why we're making the content we're making is to, like, help guide people into that understanding and being able to look at these things through, like, different lenses, or, like, you're helping people be able to digest these crazy complex difficult things into something that makes sense to the everyday person, and I think that's really awesome.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm tired of being suppressed and seeing
Yeah.
people suppressed because I think us as humans, and I believed this when I was a pastor too, like we are far more capable than we know as
Yeah.
far as like telepathy, psychic abilities, telekinesis, any of the clairs, clairvoyance, like all that stuff I think is just was our norm. I
Mhm.
believe was our norm at some point. And was the institutions of the world, whether you call them financial and religious and governmental and whatever, healthcare and medicinal, like all that kind of stuff. We've lost our way. Like the the earth is well equipped to heal us and take care of us. And, not like hating on, Tylenol or ibuprofen or, medicine that truly can help people, but also there are things like in your own backyard that can heal you and we don't even know it anymore because we don't learn it. And our kids don't go to school anymore to learn just the basic things like even just how to plant a seed and garden or how to wield a hammer or they're just stuck under fluorescent lights sitting at a desk. And it like pains me that my kids go to school and I'm like, I just want to buy a cabin somewhere in the woods, um, in the mountains and homeschool the kids and teach them real life stuff and, live off the land. And, maybe that will come again soon. I have no idea, but yeah, we're just far more capable.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel that too, and, like, I don't know, do you do meditation
Mhm.
at all?
Yeah. Every day.
Well,
Yeah.
nice. when I started having my awakening, that was another thing that was like brought into my life as well, because I didn't meditate at all before
Hmm.
uh 2023. And just being able to, I think a lot of people could really just benefit from sitting and just being present with yourself and realizing that like a lot of the stresses that we have in our life are just these beliefs and like pre-programmed things that we've been taught. And like I don't blame anyone for like being that skeptic or anything like that. Like it really is just the things that you're surrounded by growing up and what's being taught to you and all these different beliefs. But what I really like try to push people to do is just like open up the
Yep.
possibility of like what if, and just like really open your heart to like that seems to be really big in the phenomenon. Have you experienced like that heart awakening as well?
Yeah, the heart awakening, opening them up, like getting into the UFO phenomenon. A lot of people, that's kind of like their gateway drug is they
Yeah.
start with UFOs, then all of a sudden they're into all this other stuff, all these other.
It happened to me. Yeah.
I think that's totally true because you are opening up, you are curious, and I tell this to people all the time, like you need to expand your horizons, and like there's nothing wrong with watching a show on Netflix, and there's nothing wrong with watching sports and things like that. But what if you turned it off for a night and you're like, you know what? Instead of binge watching the brand new episodes of Scrubs that just came out, um, which it did, by the way. Scrubs is back, and why don't you sit on the floor, put a blindfold on, get some colored foam paper like this, and see if you can see what colors they are through your blindfold, and have no expectations and just kind of have fun with it. I've done it with the family. We've all sat on the floor and we're all just passing a blindfold around and testing things. Or um it's I made the contact journal notes
Mm,
by actually focusing on something that was not sports and Netflix and all this other stuff, and just trying to really put intention into it. Like there's so many people in this phenomenon that know something's going on, but if they had the ability to just write it down instead of saying, I'll remember that, I'll remember that cool synchronicity, or I'll remember that cool sighting I had, or that strange thing that happened. And they
mhm,
never do. And people say, I'm going to write it down. They never do. So I've like given them a place for it. Um, that's the stuff I'm saying, is like, open it up, like do something.
mhm.
You're going to find all kinds of cool, crazy stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it also makes life just way more fun and exciting too. Like being stuck in my old beliefs where I was just going to work, stuck in the grind every day versus like I'm constantly just thinking about the possibilities of human potential now and what we're capable of and like all these amazing things that I think bring you back to like that childlike mindset too. And I think a lot of people, that gets like beaten out of you through life, like going through like the school system, and then you're told you need to go get a job and you need to do these things and stuff like that, versus just letting people keep that curious mind, like child mindset.
Yeah.
And like who knows what we could accomplish if we just like they tell us when we're growing up, like you can be anything you want to be, you can do anything, and
Yeah.
then we
And
become an
you're
adult.
like,
Yeah, and then they're like, "No, you can't do that. You can't
yeah,
do any of those things."
yeah. You're an
Yeah,
idiot. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I think just getting it's like finding that inner child really was healing for me, and I think a lot of people when they're going through these spiritual journeys, that's like one of the biggest blessings I feel when you are going through this, like just refinding that child.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Um, and yeah, going back to the meditation app, like if, for any of your listeners, I just use the Monroe Institute's Expand app. Uh, it is the absolute best guided meditation I've ever used, and musical instrumental in it. meditation as well. It's great. It's got a journal section and things like that, and the best. So
Yeah. I definitely recommend it. I use it as well. And yeah, it's really awesome too because they have all the focus levels
yeah,
as well if you get the premium.
yeah, I
But
got that. Yeah, yeah.
nice.
Got to have the
Um
you got to unlock.
yeah.
No, I love Luigi's guided meditations.
Mm,
He's like I don't know if he's Scottish or Irish or something.
yeah. He's got
Yeah.
the accent though. Yeah. Yeah. Um I guess is there any final messages that you'd like to send out to anyone who's listening right now?
No, I think we just hit it, man. The whole be open, like, um, I just the world is far bigger than our tiny little spaces, and I just feel like if we just pick something and start with it and kind of see where it goes, like, um, be skeptical, sure, but
Mhm.
still open minded. But yeah, that's kind of been my message of just do something new, start a new chapter, something fresh, and get out of your comfort zone.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely feel like that resonates with me as well. Like you'll definitely grow as a person when you start getting out of your comfort zone and start pushing yourself. Um, I guess if you could shout out for everyone where everyone can find all your content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So UAP Pod on Instagram, and then UAP Pod on YouTube. So just started more long form stuff in February on YouTube, and trying to get that more and more into the makings. It's not always the easiest thing with the job and 5 kids and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
definitely.
You know, it for me. I'm not trying to rush YouTube or do anything crazy. I'm doing it at my own pace, and but yeah, that's where everybody can find me.
Awesome. And I think that's a great way to go about it too, because when you are like rushing and everything, it quickly turns into a job instead of like a passion thing that you can like pour your heart into.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. And I'm not even like I'm not competing with anybody.
mhm,
My own thing, and I celebrate everybody else, what they're doing, and um, you know, yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you, Vince, so much for coming on. And yeah, I hope everyone has an amazing day. And thanks so much for checking out this episode.
See you later.